Thanks everyone for coming. In the pre-COVID times, I used to public speak all the time, and it was really hard when I was trapped in my bedroom. And how do you get your personality on a Zoom screen? It's really challenging. So I'm super pumped to be back in real life. And when Moish and Brian and Hannah suggested that I come and MC, I was like, okay, what's the topic? Because I'm like, oh wait, let's wait for it. And they were like, it's turning an idea into a career. And I was like, okay, I'm more into it now. And then they told me the three speakers, and I was like, oh my God, these people are actually walking the walk. And it's pretty rare to meet three very successful people who are in totally different industries and just doing what they're really passionate about. So I was really excited. And I'd actually heard of all of your businesses, so that was extra exciting for me. So you might want to know why they've asked me to do it, and that's a fairly good question. So I'm actually an entrepreneur in my own right. I have a CEO advisory firm called Strifer & Co. We help leaders grow their businesses and connect with government. So that's my day job. And then by night, I run a children's publishing house, and we just launched our first book about 3 weeks ago, which is pretty exciting. So yeah, I was really excited personally to meet all of you and just to ask you and grill you. And Georgia and I actually spoke the other day, and we spoke for an hour. So we're gonna do that among us now today. So I gave Jordan 10 minutes on the phone. To be fair, you said that you didn't have much time. Yeah. So just to introduce the three amazing panels that we have here today. First, on my right is Jordan Kagan-Gescheit, and that's a hard surname, by the way. It's hard. That's the biggest challenge you have? So he's the managing director and founder of Detector Inspector. I think you're the biggest, actually, smoke detector installation company. I think you're the biggest. I've done some research. You're the biggest. Because it says one of the biggest on your website, but I think you're the biggest. Do you intentionally? Sorry, we've started the interview process before. Do you intentionally not put the biggest?
No. I think we want to be a little bit modest, in this context. Can people hear me?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure the cameras can hear me.
This is your time. This is your time.
So to be honest, the marketing team did that. I reckon there's a bit of modesty in saying it that way.
Yeah. So you're aspiring to one day be the biggest.
We are the biggest.
No. I'm glad you can say it here. The marketing team's not here to. Right. Yeah, perfect. And then on my left is Sharon Turin, and she's the founder of Slim Secrets, founder and managing director. And if you guys haven't heard of Slim Secrets, it's one of the biggest healthy snack brands, and Sophie Monk is one of the spokespeople for it. And does anyone know Sophie Monk? Yeah. Can we give a woot for Sophie Monk? Woo! Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. So welcome, Sharon.
Thank you.
And then on my far left, we have Georgia Ezra, and she's the founder. Do you call yourself managing director? What's your?
I'm like a little bit of everything. Managing director, CEO, creative director.
Yeah, everything. Of Tales by Ezra, and now at home with Georgia Ezra and the podcast, which is, I have the name, Step Up Your Home. Yeah. So Georgia's probably the busiest person on this panel.
I'm not sure that's true.
Well, she's up.
I fill my time up with any space I get. I just
add more stuff. Add more stuff. Yeah, I hear that. So thank you to our panelists who are amazing, even just reading out what they do factually. So I might just kick off by asking each of you to sort of give us an intro of who you are and how you got into what you're doing now. And I might start with Jordan.
Do you want this?
G'day everyone. My name is Jordan Kagan-Gescheit. Yes, a difficult surname. I'm the managing director, one of the managing directors of Detector Inspector. So you may all be asking, what is Detector Inspector? Well, we are the market-leading safety and compliance company in Australia. We make homes safer for tenants, and we partner with real estate agencies to make compliance simpler for landlords. So the industry that we work in is the real estate industry, residential and commercial. Our core businesses in smoke alarm maintenance and gas and electrical safety checks. And we service about 300,000 properties annually, doing over 400,000 services every year. And safety and compliance is what we do. And I got into this business with a friend of mine. We went to playgroup together. We went to school together. Then we started a business together. His name's Jason Radolnik, and him and I started the business when we were 19. We originally did it as a thing just on the side, so we didn't need to borrow money off mum and dad while we were studying. And very slowly, because it has been 16 years, it grew into a fairly large business. And look, we operate in 5 states in Australia, and we aspire to make home safer.
I know, that's pretty impressive, right? What was the name of your co-founder again?
Jason Riddle.
Is he similar to what he was like in playgroup, or has he changed?
Quite a lot.
Yeah. Similar vibe between you. Thanks, Jordan. Sharon, I'd love to hear from you. I actually watched an amazing video about Sharon before we did, so I know a little bit about the background, but I'd love to hear from you the genesis of how you came to start Slim Secrets.
Sure. Slim Secrets actually launched 16 years ago. It launched as a hobby. First of all, what we are is a brand of healthy snack products designed for busy people on the go that want something that's indulgent but better for you. So, let's say your Snickers bar, we manufacture products that have less sugar and better ingredients than what you'll find in those type of products. So 16 years ago, when I launched, it was really going to be a hobby. It was something that I saw a gap in the market. I was working with clients as a health and wellness coach, saw a gap in the market for these type of products that people wanted, like sitting here or sitting TV at night, watching TV. You go and grab, a tub of ice cream or a block of chocolate or, so I saw these situations where people really struggled with their eating between meals. So I thought, I'll do this as a hobby, and worked out how to I didn't make them, but 3 bars and designed to fill you up between meals. From that, the hobby suddenly turned into something that was in demand. I got a phone call at one stage from Boost Juice and then from Coles to say, how can we stock your products? So from something that was going to be, a bit of fun and I had no business planning or expertise at all, it suddenly just went from, 0 to 100 pretty quickly. And today we have a range of about 16 products, all like chocolates, puddings, protein bars, lots of different flavours, and we sell into retailers such as Coles, Woolworths, pharmacies, and export to about 12 countries. Plus, the best part of it is I'm actually working now with my son in the business and having fun at the same time.
The most amazing thing, besides everything about Sharon, is that you have 3 staff. 3,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Which is I have 7, and I do not know how I manage my life.
Yeah.
And you have 3.
Yeah.
Managing this huge brand, which is
We've always had very slim staff. Sorry.
It's really incredible. Before we move on to Georgia, I'd love to hear. So you get a call from Boost Juice, right? You get a call from Coles. What goes through your mind? Walk me through how much you freak out or what you
Absolute panic. Because we didn't have enough stock, so you have to then, get stock made up. And look, everything that I did from the start, I had to Google, because 16 years ago, I didn't know what I was doing. So, even as far as getting barcode verifications, which if anyone's got products, you would know you need barcode verifications. I didn't even know a barcode. I thought you just drew them. I had no idea. So every little thing was, your heart's racing the whole time. And but the best part is, finding people that actually can help you along the way. So the relationships that I ended up making with people that knew what they were doing was probably the best advice I can give anyone starting a new business.
No, that's really great. Yeah, Georgia, tell us your background. How?
Hello, everyone. My name is Georgia Ezra. So I'm originally from Sydney. I grew up in Sydney and I moved to Melbourne at the age of 22. I came to Melbourne because I studied interior architecture in Sydney, and I was brought to Melbourne to be an interior architect at an architectural firm. And I had worked there for 2 years. And after 2 years, I left the company and was looking for another job. And during that time, I started taking on side projects, and that led me to just realizing that I could do it myself. So I launched, which was now known as Studio Ezra. It was called Gabay, which was a high-end interior architectural firm. And simultaneously, I launched a furniture company, which ran for...
She's crazy. Yeah, she's crazy. I love it.
I'm pretty crazy. So they ran simultaneously, and then I fell pregnant with my first son, with my first child, and I stopped the furniture company, and at the same time I'd started a tile business. Sounds funny, but basically what had happened was I was designing a meat, wine and cheese store in Albert Park, and I couldn't find the product to facilitate the interior that I wanted to create. So I sourced it myself and sent out a newsletter with some product because I thought it was nice product, and I had 4 orders in a week. So I knew it was straight away market ready, and I decided to launch a tile company. That was it. We are now distributed in 5 major countries. It's called Tiles of Ezra, and we are a bespoke, high-end tile supplier simultaneously running with our interior architectural firm. We design and import and distribute tiles handmade. Everything's handmade or from the earth, made in Morocco, Egypt, Vietnam, Mexico. And yeah, we sell to clients all around the world in Saudi Arabia, Hong Kong, everywhere really, and of course Australia throughout. So yeah, everything that we do is focused on healthy living. We're very passionate about the way that our homes affect our emotional well-being. So from our designs to our products, that's a little bit about Tiles of Ezra. And then November last year, I launched a homeware line.
And a podcast.
Yeah, I'm crazy.
I know. There was a lot.
I don't even know how to introduce myself. I'm like, hi, I'm Georgia. I have 3 businesses. The end.
No, it was a really good introduction. So I think it was really interesting to me when I was thinking about how this event was going to be advertised and about, turning an idea into a career. Because I think a lot of people say to me, how do you do it? How do you have like the confidence to do it? Like I've always wanted to write a children's book, or I've always wanted to have my own business. How do you do it? And I think they think that people like us or like our panelists, that they're kind of superhuman and they don't have those fears. But I mean, I don't know about Jordan because he seems a little crazy, but most of us have those fears for sure. So I just want to hear from the panel, like kind of some of those like self-defeating thoughts that you had when you started about like your own doubts, because I think I want to normalize that thinking process.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
So when I started the earlier 2 businesses, I feel like I had not yet established my name in the industry. So for me, I think that there was less to lose, if that makes sense, and there was no expectation. I didn't feel fear around it. It was just something I wanted to do. It was small. I wasn't afraid of the fear of the failure because there was nothing to lose, really. Launching my homeware line, which I did in November of last year, was huge for me because I had established my name in the industry and I am recognised Australia-wide and globally. So I feel like I felt a great amount of fear and insecurity about launching the business, and I did, like, even the morning of the launch, I was having the worst anxiety. So it does happen, it's real. And I think for me, the way that I got through that with my homeware line was just knowing, like, if it's meant to be, it will be. If it's not, it's not. It's a business, that's it. You know, it's not life. And if if it doesn't concern your health or your well-being, it's nothing to be so strained or stressed about. I just was like, this is a passion I have. This is what I want to do. It brings me great joy, which was the number one. It was giving jobs to people in India and artisans who need it. And that was what I was passionate about. And so I was going to launch it, whether it went well or didn't go well, and I pushed through.
Yeah. So it sounds like the joy almost was
Yes.
slightly tipping the fear.
Yeah, the joy and the passion and the greater purpose. Like, it was just, I couldn't run away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sharon, do you want to?
Actually, similar to Georgia, when I started talking about it being a hobby, I didn't have that initial stress of, starting a business, because it wasn't a business, so it was fine. So if nobody wanted them, it didn't really matter. I'd keep doing what I was doing, health and wellness coaching. But the fear came a bit later when it did become a business, and things like trade shows. Like, I'd go to trade shows and you'd watch, you'd sample, people would sample your product, and you'd be standing there, and I'd actually feel sick, because what if they didn't like it? And sure enough, not everyone's going to like your products. And the fear and anyway, today, 16 years later, I laugh now. It's like, of course not everyone's going to like your products, but then it was so scary. And everyone
To like it, don't you?
You do, but it's, not everyone likes mint, or not whatever it is, they're not all going to want something that's lower in sugar than, they want Cadbury chocolate. They don't want something else. So the fear, there's so many fears. At one stage, we had an issue with our packaging when we first launched, when it was going into the supermarkets. I wanted to be honest with you, after the first year, I actually wanted to give it up. And if it wasn't for my husband, who's actually, a business speaker and very motivational, and he said to me, "Don't be so stupid. You've gone to all this work. Why would you give it up now?" And honestly, I wanted to throw it away.
Why do you want to give it up?
There were too many things that initially would go wrong when we were when it became a business, and I was just not prepared. So, but bit by bit, I got the confidence and learnt along the way, and started to actually love it. So it was worth pushing through.
I feel like that fear is always like the next stage of your growth. Like when you're like ready to chuck
Yep.
it all in, that's when the caterpillar kind of
Yep.
moment.
Yep.
What are your fears?
The Google reviews are real, and just don't read them. So, like the other panelists, I started my business when I was quite young. I was 19, and so the fear of beginning something and knowing or not knowing whether it was going to succeed it just didn't even come into my psyche. It was I was just going to do it, and I was ambitious. But as the business grows and things become more real, like the panelist said, you have more at risk. Unlike the other two panelists, we have 600 people working for us, technicians, electricians, gas fitters on the road, 200 people in the Philippines, 150 people in Australia, and if things go wrong, then their livelihoods are at risk. So, look, I think the message here is that when you start a business, some of the things that are most important are that you can honestly get to a point where you have the time to put into your business, and if you have that time and you put in that effort, then you'll get the rewards. And I think that's a really strong message that needs to come out from this.
Can you walk us through, like, in the development of your business, the growth horizons? So, like, how did that look? Thank you, Hannah. Oh. Yeah. Got it. Sorry, everyone who's online. We love you as well. You're not second-class citizens to the show. Yeah, Jordan, I'd love you to walk me through the growth trajectory. Obviously, your business is quite large now. Like, did it look like this? Did it look like this? Like, what did growth look like for you?
Yeah, great question. So again, I've been in it for 16 years. So we started off small. It was just two of us. My business partner went overseas, and I was still studying at university. And during that year, I did an internship at L'Oreal. And while doing that internship, I'd continue running the business from my car at lunchtime and after hours just to keep the business going. And, you know, for a very long time, it was just the two of us. But during those periods, we would find opportunities to really develop what we were building. And so when Jason was away and I was at work, we were forced into working out a contractor model for other people to actually do the services while we were both doing our things. So that was the first experience that I had of managing people, and that obviously has changed now. But over the years, our growth trajectory was slow and steady. We managed our finances really tightly. We would hire people within our budget. There were lots of different things that we would do just so we could continue making sure that the business was going to run. So I think when it comes to looking at the things that are important when starting up a business, you need to have budgets and forecasts in place, and they're really important to help grow the business. Over the years, as you generate more revenue, you're able to take more risks and hire more people, and when you get additional help, you can start really pushing on some of the boundaries that you want to make your business bigger.
I just wrote down budgets and forecasts because I haven't been doing that. It's been 18 months. I'm like, the vibe of it is we're ready to hire.
It did take us like 9 years to work that out. So, but when we did, wow, you should see what happens.
Oh, really? Okay, we should have a separate side chat about that. But yeah, so I'd love to hear from all of you. Like, if you could go back to yourself at, when you first started the business, what would you tell yourself? Like, like we could have said, like, bought Amazon. Like, yeah. What would you have wanted to hear? What did you need to hear?
Oh, look, what would I need to hear? That I was going to end up with a global business that was a success, and I was working with my gorgeous son. Is that what I want to hear? That I can do it, I suppose. That I have the capability and the capability to actually start something from scratch and build it up into a global business. Because honestly, when I started, not in a million years, as I've said from all along, that I was ever going to do something like this. So and also have my family so proud and supportive.
Aww. I like that answer.
Do you want to answer the same?
Yeah,
question?
Please.
I think, being so green and young when I started, I was, and I still am, but I was extremely impatient. And I think businesses, they really take time. When you start out, what you think you want to do, it changes over the time. Your business morphs. What your clients want, come to fruition more so than what you thought when you started. Everything changes. So I would have probably, I've got friends sitting in this room that told me from day dot, just chill and be patient. Rome is not built in a day. And if you work hard and you are focused and you know what you want, you will get it. Like, I wish that I was able to really, as a young girl, truly embody and realize that, because that honestly is the truth. You can have anything that you want if you know what it is and you work really, really hard.
It's interesting because that patience is really hard at the beginning, isn't it? Because there's so much like momentum, and you're so like you're in your car, you're high on life, right? So like reminding yourself to.
Yeah, I remember like literally sitting in the spare room of our apartment and working from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m., having dinner, and then working till 10 on my computer. I don't even know what I was working on. I just had to work because I was so motivated. I remember days, that I was very upset because I wasn't reaching the people or getting to the places. I wanted to be there from day dot. And it's an unrealistic expectation,
Yeah, you have to pace yourself. Jordan.
So some of you might be surprised to know my passion isn't in safety and compliance, and it never was. But I did want the opportunity to create something different and for myself. And I think necessity helped create Detector Inspector. When I was 19, I had come back from a trip overseas to Israel, and I was at university studying, and I had 16 contact hours a week, and I would work at the Theodore Herzl Club serving coffees to bridge players for $10 an hour, getting 4-hour shifts twice a week. And I'm like, there must be a better way to earn money than this. And so for me, opportunity at creating something bigger and different was my driver, and that's why we went out on our own, and it worked with our lifestyle and the flexibility and all that sort of stuff. And so if you can kind of work that stuff into creating a business, I think success is just over the horizon.
So Jordan, you were quite young when you started the business, and you were walking in often to real estate agencies. I imagine you would have been meeting with the owners of real estate agencies who'd been a lifetime in the business. What gave you the confidence or chutzpah? There you go, like mine, to go in there and put yourself out there and do it.
Well, at first, like anything, you're nervous, but I'll just try and paint a picture for you. I was 19, baby-faced, barely shaved. I looked like a kid walking into these real estate agencies, and the first meeting that Jason and I ever went to, we went in together, almost like we were holding hands. It was not a pretty sight. We didn't sign up that agency, but I think just being younger, and being relentless, you continue to give it your best. And we knew that we had a good service that we could provide to the wider community, and we just kept pushing, and you get your first break. And if you do a good job in your first break, then word of mouth starts to spread, and you build your business that way.
So you just have to have the first idiot who says yes, and then just do a really good job. Yeah, with that. So I kind of would love to dive into like when you're, if you're going in to meet with a potential supplier or a big partner, like how do you know if it's the right move? Like how do you decide?
From my experience, having now have like Tiles of Ezra is distributed in quite a few countries, I think you're going back and forth for a while. Like these things don't just happen. They can take up to a year, these arrangements, and I really think it's you feel in the demeanor of the company, how they feel about your business, how enthusiastic they are about your business. You feel it straight away. So I think when you're, in those discussions, it's important to make sure that you're getting what you want always at first. Like you have to set your boundaries down. And if they're saying yes to those boundaries, they're on team. That's part one of a healthy collaboration, but also respecting the wants and needs and directions of those businesses too. So whilst we often look at what we want to need, and that is important because we need our businesses to run, I think it's also really important to look at the wants and needs of those other companies. So whenever I've been in those initial chats, always the first thing I'm like, where do you see this going? How do you see this working? Because I need that answer to understand if it's going to work for me too. So, does that answer your question?
That's a really, No, it's funny what you say about the passion, because we just chose a book printer for, we're printing a lot of books and it's quite scary. And there's been one printer and her name's Coco, and she just contacts me like 5,000 times a day, and it's really annoying. But you can just tell how passionate she is, and then it's like, if she's this into it, way more into it than I am, then it's
important.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, so how about you, Sharon? How do you know when it's the right?
Look, initially, I think, because in the early days with bricks and mortar, to actually be in, the major retailers for us was very important, because when you don't have a huge marketing budget, to sit on the shelves, it's like having, real estate, prime real estate, where you don't actually have to put your products, continuously market them, because they're on the shelf that everybody walks past with their trolley. So it's very important for us initially to have our products there. A lot of companies today are saying, forget going into major retailers, I'm actually going to just do online, because margins are so much better. The major retailers take an absolute chunk of your margins.
How much do they take? What percent is it?
It honestly varies. And we use distributors as well, so we actually, so it's minimised again. So we do lose a chunk. So when we sell online, it's like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
But you have to sell a lot more product online, to actually get the same amount that you would through the major retailers. So I just think you have to actually look at your business model, and today a lot more people are actually varying what they do, and not saying, look, we don't have to be in the major retailers to be successful. With social media and other forms of digital advertising that we didn't have when we started, there are other ways to actually really grow your business. And in fact, there's a couple of businesses that I know, like in the health space, that are massive, and they're not in the supermarkets, but they're just doing such great business online. So it really, everything's changing all the time.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
Quickly? I just also wanted to add, one of the most important things that I have felt with my business, and I'm sure all of our businesses, has been the brand. The brand is so key, like having your brand, who you are, the logo, staying true to that brand, from how you talk to what imagery you put out, and like just everything, like how you talk on your website, and who you partner with. Everything about your brand is what would make a distributor, like a distribution party or a real estate agent or whoever, want to use you. So I know like that has been the most powerful tool for my business to gain traction globally, especially through social media. We've really become a global company through our social media and our presence in the tile industry, and that's purely because our tile business is owned and run by interior designers, not sales reps.
So who runs your social media?
A little bit between me and one of my dearest friends who actually lives in South Africa. She used to work for me.
So you still manage your own social media?
Well, I don't post daily, but I'll do Insta story. I just can't help myself.
You just want to do it.
I'm control freak. But what I'm saying is that we gained global traction through our social media, and we have that is through our brand and the look, and what the products that we sell. Every single thing that we sell on Tiles of Ezra is something that I would put in my own interiors or my own home. So we have a very strong look, and that goes with brand. And so we're not just like a dispersed tile company that sells 20,000 different options. We sell like a very curated range. And that's very important in terms of distribution as well, like aligning with those companies.
Yeah, you can be a business without a brand, but it's so much easier to be a business if you are.
People find you that want to work with you, you know?
Yeah. Brand.
Well, I have a slightly different aspect to this question, just because, from a bit of context for you, our business, the idea was conceptualized when my business partner's father brought home an article that was published in the REIV, the Real Estate Institute of Victoria newsletter, that outlined there was a tenant who was injured in a house fire, and they sued their landlord claiming that there was non-operational smoke alarms in the property. And that's where the idea came from. And so for us, we didn't care who would partner with us. We would go into every single real estate agency that we could find, because we thought we had a service that would actually save people's lives, and that's what we were selling at the time. And those people that resonated with that ideal, they were the ones that were the early adopters of our service. And so no one knew who Detector Inspector was in the beginning, and no one knew who Detector Inspector was many years after. They know now, but for us, we had a really good service that was doing really great things for the community, and I think that was, and we didn't necessarily choose who we wanted to partner with. We can be a little bit more picky now, but so I just think there is a range to this question.
I also realize I don't have a watch, so I have no concept of what time it is. 15 minutes, perfect. Well, I have another question for you, Jordan. So we've discussed how you're the market leader, and your website doesn't say it. But how do you stay at the top? I imagine that there'd be lots of businesses that are eyeing you and trying to be it. So how do you keep it going?
Yeah, really good question. So we weren't always the market leader. In fact, if you can imagine, Jason and I were two guys that started off with $1,200. We went out, we bought a couple of ladders, a couple of drills, some batteries and some smoke alarms, and we started up a business.
You did it yourself. You did that. Sorry, world back there.
We did it ourselves, and we did every job in our business. And so how do you stay at the top? Well, for the first handful of years, it was about just making sure that the business was successful. It took us 5 years to turn a profit. But when we started making a profit, we started looking at ways of starting to win market share in our industry, and being younger and technologically adept, we turned to technology, and technology was the thing that set us apart, and it still sets us apart today. So we wanted to solve a problem for real estate agencies, and they hate compliance, they hate managing compliance, and we wanted to do that for them in the simplest, most hassle-free way. And to do that, we needed to integrate with their systems, and we needed to make sure that our technicians on the road were providing digital audit trails, and we had to do a range of various different things to stay ahead. And so in our business now, we have an in-house IT development team, so we have developers building software to help scale our business and run all the functions within our business. And for us to stay on top, it's using technology and being the market leader and thinking of new innovative ideas that can save people's lives and make our customers' lives easier.
Are we going to automate any of this?
Again, another great question. We actually are already automating a lot. We have a data science team. They're creating algorithms and using machine learning to do a range of various different things within our business. We have different apps that get sent out different SMSs and emails that get sent out to tenants, and you can click on the links and you can book in your own times. That synchronizes with our internal systems, so it means that it can ping a technician who's on the road to go to another job. And there's a lot of automation in our business. It's something that we're working on to reduce our costs and be more efficient at what we do.
That's amazing. I guess that's what happens when you have a lot of staff. You can start doing cool stuff like that. Yes. Okay. I'm going to jump to a little bit of a different perspective now. I'm wondering what you enjoy the most about having your own business.
I would probably have to say, I'm not going to say freedom, because it's certainly not a freeing thing, having your own business. I think, if anything, it creates, it's something that having your own business makes life more attached to a company. You know, you can never really get away from your work. But I think it would be freedom in the way, like having the time and the moments in the areas in the way that you want them. So I have 2 young kids, and my day ends at around 2 every day, and I'm able to cook and be in the kitchen with them and spend precious time with them during hours that I wouldn't have been able to if I was working for someone else. And I think just curating that rhythm and that routine and that life for myself is something that is hugely important. But also I find it very empowering to be able to choose the way I want to go in my life, you know. I think I feel very blessed that I have that confidence and that power within me, that I've been able to do that, because I know for so many it is a struggle to find that inner, power. So I feel very blessed that I'm able to lead my life in the way that I can, following passions that are really true. Like every day when I'm doing what I'm doing, whether I'm designing someone's home or designing a tile range or putting together a dress or a tablecloth or a pillow with the artisans in India, like this is my calling, and I know I'm changing people's lives through what I create, and at the same time I feel very empowered. So
You finish at 2. That's amazing.
I do. I get back on at 7.
Oh, okay.
7 till late.
I'm like, we're going to have to do a mentorship course. We need to teach you how to finish at 2. But okay, so you structure your day. You work until 2.
I'm very short days and very few days, because I still very much want to be my full-time mum. So that's my number one priority, non-negotiable. So I do the extra time when the kids are asleep. Yeah, and I have a great team of staff.
Yeah.
That help
So it sounds
me.
like you revolve your life, your work around your life. Then.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. Sharon, what do you like most?
I love being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it and make the decisions impulsively. So, for example, if if we get an email from a company to say we would like you to do X, Y, and Z, often when you're a big business and you have lots of other people involved with you in a business, it takes about 3 or 4 layers before you can actually get that decision made. I really enjoy the fact that we can come straight away and say to whoever's asking us, can you do this, or whatever it is that they're asking, that we can actually say yes really quickly if that's the decision that we want to make. So I think the freedom of being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it is absolutely fantastic. Decision.
But you did say before we came in that even on holidays you're answering emails.
Always working. I work 7 days a week. Really, I do. So one day I very much look forward to not being on a holiday and answering my emails. Like sometimes on a Sunday I'll get an email from a customer, and in the olden days you would never respond to anyone on a Sunday, but it'll be like, my order hasn't arrived. Where is it? And they have a whinge. I'll nowadays respond on that Sunday, and I'll go and track and trace and see where it is, and I'll put in online inquiry to the courier, and I'll go back to the customer and tell her that I've looked into it for her. She'll see that I'm the CEO.
Yeah, she would be shocked.
And that I've responded straight away, and it's like, oh my God. So what actually ends up happening is that I win over this customer that's come to you as a complaint, ends up being a long life loyal customer because of the customer service that I can actually do, because I can do what I want.
Oh, I love that. I would have loved getting that email. I'd be like, oh my God, Sharon wrote to me.
I love that feeling of, yeah.
For me, it's about creating opportunity for people. I think that's where Detector Inspector sort of grew from in the beginning. It was an opportunity to earn more money being flexible through university, and then it was an opportunity for the contractors that we hired, which happened to be our friends, that use that money to go on overseas trips or to buy their first home or to do things that people want to do. And so I sit around or stand around in my business at the moment, and you just look at the people and what they're doing, and everyone's working, and it's just like an amazing sight. And the moment we stop creating opportunity, I think our company will fail. And so we want to promote within. We want to make sure that we can develop our people. And I think that's probably the thing that gets me out of bed every morning. It makes me really excited to come to work. You develop really great relationships with people, and I can work long hours, and it's because I love it.
You're a real business if you're at the promoting from within stage. Because I'm like, I don't even have I have nowhere to promote people. So you're real now.
Well, it's just like you need to do it, and people want to work in an organization where they can develop themselves and their lives as well. And so if we can help them do that, then the world's a better place.
No, it's really cool. How many more minutes do I have? 5 more minutes. Please.
I actually just want to thank you so much for bringing that up, because it's something that I also think about a lot. We work with artisans in Morocco and India, and last night I got off the phone. I'm on the phone all the time to my artisans. So I got off the phone, and Simo had sent me a video he had walked me through the factory, because we've got a lot of containers being manufactured at the moment. And he said, look what you've done. And I said, what? And he's like showing me all these people that we had hired. Like my manufacturing team in Morocco has grown so exponentially. And he said, because we always talk when he's like we employ women. And I was saying it on my Instagram yesterday, we employ women because quite frankly, they're better at the job. That's literally why. They clean better, they pack better, and it's true. In Australia, we have so much opportunity, but I must say, thank you for pointing that out, because I think it all the time, but being able to give men and women jobs in third world countries where it's not so easy is like a deeply cherished moment of mine. Like it's so important. It's so, yeah.
How do you find your suppliers? Especially with COVID?
We'll talk off mic later.
I love the hair flick. I love the hair flick as part of it.
That's secret intel.
I just think that'd be the most fun job ever.
It's detective work and a half. Yeah.
There you go. Okay, this is quite a random one, but what's the best piece of advice about business you've ever received?
Can you start? I want to think. Okay, Jordan, you go. Okay.
I said it earlier, but building a budget and a forecast is super important. I have a friend that's starting up a business just recently, and I just got in his ear, and I was like, Ben, you need to build a budget. He's like, but I haven't even thought about anything in my business yet. I'm like, yes, but this is a really important step. It took me way too long to do, and when you're small, you feel like you can just you have that gut feeling about what can happen next and what you need to do to stay on top. But you can turbocharge your business if you build forecasts and budgets. It allows you to create targets that you can set. It can push you. It keeps you on track. And when you're actually trying to analyze how you've gone in comparison to your budgets, you can do that analysis to work out how you're traveling at a particular time, or if you're ahead of target or behind. And I just think that it's just, when we were told that piece of advice and we're like, we don't need it, until the time when we built our first budget, it actually just grew our business exponentially from that point on.
Who did your budget and finance? Is this an advertisement? No, I actually genuinely want to know who did this for you.
So Jason and I, we actually took a mentor from the Glen Iris City Council, and they had a mentorship program. And that mentor put us in contact with a virtual CFO. It's just basically like a consultant CFO. And when we met with him and he asked us financially how we were doing, we didn't know our numbers. We were really flying blind in that department, but we were making money. We had money in the bank accounts. And he's like, guys, this is not a way to run a business. And he sat us down and we engaged him, part-time to help us build this out for us. And it was really successful. So there are consultants around and they don't need to be expensive. His group is the virtual CFO group, and they can help you put these types of things together. Or just ask somebody else who's in business, who's done this before, and I reckon most people in business will have all the time in the world for somebody starting up a business because they're the ones that have got the advice in the past from other people as well. So we tend to want to give back.
I know my first year of business, the amount of free accounting, free legal, free marketing, everything, I think I've worn out all of my thank yous now. My lawyer sent me an invoice and I was like, what's this for? I have to pay it though. Awkward.
So my brain works a little bit differently to yours because I'm a designer. So I'm I don't, know all the stuff with the, but when I started, I would say I held very closely onto doing everything. And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I was very poor with my time management in that way. It took me a long time to realize that staff were return on investment and really helped me grow the business. But I would say that I do see a lot of startups spend a lot of money very early on, and I think that it is important when you start a business. You have to sort of be everything. You really have to be slim on the way that you spend. You have to spend wisely and know that you can do a lot of it yourself, but also realize at the right point to get some help and start bringing people into your team to help you grow and to help relieve strain and stress. You can't do it all. We're human. We're not robots. So I feel like for me, that tipping point in my business was when my mentor, who's in the US, when I started with her and she really pushed the topic of your staff, it's not an expense. They are going to help you grow. And the minute I looked at it in that way, I was so excited to employ and I wasn't fearful of it. And since then, we've just exponentially, we are growing a lot. So that's been, because, we have these amazing people, our team, they're our expertise. We couldn't do it without them. So it's stay small and then when you can, flourish.
No, I'm just staring at Georgia awkwardly and going like this. So.
Okay, just similar in some way. There's two aspects. One is relationships. I think one of the things that has been very important is building relationships in a business, and especially in our sort of business, whether it's relationships with manufacturers, whether it's relationships with customers, whether it's relationships with the courier, whoever we do business with, building those special relationships, it comes back each and every time to success in the end. To me, that's one of the most important parts about running our business, and I think running any sort of business or anything really is the relationships that you build along the way. The other thing too is, and we discussed it before, but it's persistence and perseverance and patience, and it's the one thing, you can keep trying and trying and trying, just finding different ways to approach something, and eventually you'll find success. So being patient but persisting is very important. In today's day and age, I think everybody's wants things yesterday. Everything's swiping and apps and quick, and we want everything quickly. But we have to have a little bit of patience because things don't always happen. Good things don't always happen so quickly.
Oh man, I need that lesson every day. I'll call you, Sharon, in the morning before.
I need to take my own advice.
Are we finished? Was that time?
Maybe 2 questions from the
Oh, yeah, I didn't know if we were allowed because of the Corona experience, but do you want me to, should I give them my mic? I want to pass my disease around. No? Yes? No? No. Ooh, good question.
So the question that was asked was, what were the first jobs that you delegated? I'm a unique cat. I'm like
Nothing.
I'm a little bit. So I would probably say, and this is not what I did, but I wish going back to my younger Georgia that I did. So that's the advice I'm going to give. That the first task that I would delegate would be to a bookkeeper. Like, put the thing that you don't want to do, which is time consuming, stressful, frustrating, to someone that can do it for you, and it's not that expensive. And also, of course, an accountant. So for me, like that, they would be.
The thing is with the expense as well is if you're paying, the way that I think about it is if you're paying a bookkeeper, let's say $10,000 a year, let's say, that with that time, you're growing your business and you might grow $100,000, right? So it's an investment in, yeah.
Well, it's very business, it depends on your business. So for me, at the time, I was running an interior design firm. So it was like getting a designer on board. Yeah. So it's very job specific and company specific. Yeah. Can I just also add before?
Please.
Another thing that I just wanted to say about owning your own business and like a lesson is like to be kind. I was thinking that when you were talking, I'm like, just be kind. Just,
I know, and how nice is everyone besides me on the panel? Like everyone's so like modest and humble and like, it's amazing. Like, nice people have success, which is nice.
I can give you that. Her name's Christina and she's brilliant, so I can pass you those details. Yeah.
Time for one more question.
Jordan, I've got a question for you. Budgets and forecasts. When you're starting, you were saying that it's vital to sort of think about that when you start. But how do you know when you're starting, like you can sort of make up figures? How do you know what your budget should be? And how do you forecast it when you're starting and you sort of have no idea how much revenue you're going to have?
Okay, so the question is when you start your own business, if you're going to do a budget and forecast, if you don't even know what your costs and your sales are, how do you do a budget and a forecast?
So with a forecast, it's your best guess anyway. You're forecasting what you think you're going to do. So you use logic and you use everyday sort of knowledge on products and services to kind of work out what your expenses may be, and then you give it your best guess as to work out what sales you may make along the way. And once you know your sales and once you know your costs, you will then get a bottom line. Whether or not, if it's a negative, then really we need to think about how to minimize those costs, or we need to do more sales to bring your bottom line into a positive. And so you can sort of take it from the most basic sense, and often the best forecasts and budgets are basic, and then that helps you along your way.
That was the last question we were allowed, wasn't it?
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, it did. Good.
Basically just guess. Guess both numbers.
There is a structure to it, and I mean, I can definitely talk to you about that afterwards. But if you don't know, you should definitely ask somebody that has done them before. They can take you through a basic budget and forecast. You'll be able to adapt those models to your business, and it works with every business in industry around the world.
Hannah always breaking the rules. Yeah, what's your question?
Sharon, I wanted to ask about your products, and I just wanted to ask what your favourite product is, and also do you create them, like the ingredients and the
So Hannah's question was, Sharon, what's your favorite product, and do you create them?
I go through stages with them. It's like, you know, when you see a product all the time and you're eating them, it's like on to the next. So we've just launched a new blondie. So we've got a brownie and a blondie, which is no added sugar and high in protein. And the blondie has popcorn, white chocolate, and caramel crisps. And that, like, I had one just before I came.
You should have brought them for us.
You know what? I nearly put some in a bag, but it actually really
Oh.
I
No,
thought
because you
about-
don't want to be that weirdo. Like I brought my book. You
I
don't want to
know,
be that
here,
weirdo
everyone.
that has it, right?
Yeah, and the brownie actually, I put in the microwave and then put some ice cream on it, and it's really good. So do I create them? I don't cook. Your mum cooks. I don't cook. But in my head, we look at trends with flavours and things like that, and products, and try and, as I said from the start, do something that tastes indulgent but better for you.
No one ever asked me that question. What's your favourite smoke alarm?
Well, you do have a lot of services. What's your favorite service that you offer?
They're all good.
Actually, now that we asked this question, like if people in the audience, there's a lot of them, right, that are on the TV. If they want to get in touch with you or learn about what you do, what's the best way for them to do it?
LinkedIn.
Are you a LinkedIn person, Sharon?
I'm a LinkedIn
Okay,
person.
Sharon Turin, LinkedIn.
Yep. Because
Sure.
my social media is all Slim Secrets, and I don't look after it. So, LinkedIn.
Georgia, what's the best way?
LinkedIn or just Instagram, Georgia Ezra.
Georgia Ezra,
Yeah,
Instagram. She manages it herself with her friend.
I do.
The website, there's a cute little Bitmoji of me, and then there's my email address on there as well under the About Us page.
It's a good website. I went this morning. Well, thank you. If you wouldn't mind joining me in thanking our amazing panelists, Sharon, Jordan, Georgia. I'm so delighted you came out during these Corona times.
Thank you. Amazing. All right. That concludes our formalities. Okay, how formal is that? Are you in my mic? No, that is right. Thank you all. Thank you all. For those watching, make sure you sign up for our next event, which is coming up. We've got a Friday night dinner. We've got a weekend away. We've got a two-bar party. And get in touch with these incredible speakers. I've learned so much, and I've been truly inspired. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. If anyone wants 1 in a Million Publishing, ONE, 1 in a Million Publishing, I manage it myself. You'll notice when you see it. It's really obnoxious.
Thank you. We're going to be having our next 16th of July, Friday night dinner. Make sure you come. It will be live. Thank you.